there's a section of the story where Oscar Isaac's character Nathan starts talking about how he'd hacked into people's phones and switched on their cameras and activated their microphones in order to record information about faces and the way people speak. And at the time I wrote that, several people said to me, this is sort of pushing towards science fiction, and it feels fantastical, and everyone has phones and they know that doesn't happen. And then while we were in prep, I think it was, or maybe while we were shooting, I can't even remember now, that NSA story broke, and suddenly you realise that's just the tip of the iceberg, probably, isn't it? That whole world is changing very quickly, and while we've been making it, over the course of the time we've been making it, lots of new bits of information about partly the way we use computers and computers use us, and also just thoughts about artificial intelligence. They're all changing and developing very, very fast. The story is about a young guy who wins a competition to spend a week with the CEO of his company, which is an internet search engine. It's the world's biggest internet search engine. And when he gets there, he discovers that he's not there to spend a week just hanging out and bonding with a boss. He's there to take part in an experiment, which is to assess a robot girl for artificial intelligence, to see if this robot girl has a consciousness in the way that we do. And the film then is about how three people, or in a way 4 people in the end in this house, interact with each other and challenge each other, and what the answers to the test are. The character of Caleb, who's played by Domhnall Gleeson, is a smart young guy, typical of the kind of men I expect you find at these companies. He understands machines, he understands computers, he's ambitious, he's got a whole kind of future ahead of him, but he's also, he's decent. He's a decent young guy, and it turns out to be part of the reason why he was chosen for this test, is he has a kind of moral compass. He's interacting in the story with things that become increasingly dark and difficult, and he has to kind of hold on to himself and his centre while all of that is going on around him. Nathan's character, played by Oscar Isaac, so he's the boss of this huge, the world's biggest internet search engine, so enormously wealthy, powerful man. He's also the brains behind it. He wrote the code that superseded all previous search engines, so fiercely intelligent guy. He's spent the last few years, at the point we meet him in the story, focused on his pet private project, which is AIs, and in quite an isolated place, geographically isolated, but also sort of psychologically isolated, spending a lot of time talking to machines. Somewhere in the back of my mind, there's a sort of Kurtz analogy of someone who's spent too much time upriver and has gone a bit crazy. And at the point we meet him, he's tipped over some kind of edge, and he's in quite a strange place. And the place is, the film is in some respects about us catching up with how strange the place is that he's got to.